Beautiful people, welcome to episode 39 of the podcast. This is happening in the middle of the week. I know I stress being out every Monday, but I couldn't wait another moment. Like, after I heard the news, I was like, where the fuck is my microphone? Okay, in the basement, here I am. Okay, I got a text message from a friend, Alt Left James, who you all met on episodes 19 and 21. And he told me, the text message read, it took me 7 years, but I finally did it. And I read the text message, and my brain started going. My brain said to my body, or my body said to my brain, no, couldn't be. God damn it, James McKenna has a fantasy football title before I do. That is not good, ladies and gentlemen. I knew this fucking boycott was a terrible idea. You know that. I knew this boycott wasn't going to get us anywhere. You know, I'm telling you, that his name, on his fantasy football name is Capper No Don't Shoot. And I said to myself, Bo, you failed the culture. How could you? The shit was hard on me, man. And that's why it's a double whammy, because you never want your friends to beat you at anything. Anything, ever. And that's just how our circle rolls. You know what I'm saying? It is never malicious. It's never really that serious. But as far as, that's why it's that serious, because we wouldn't be cool if we didn't do this shit to each other. You're not my mans if I can't talk shit to you in fantasy football. That's the place to do it. When you play a 2-on-2 at the park, that's the time when you yo, we might as well just get this shit out, bro. You know what I'm saying? Everything else is about building. So, I don't know, man. This is really fucking with me. That James McKenna won a goddamn title, because I remember, I wanted to call, and out of respect to your friends. If you're doing a podcast thing, you know me, I'm not big on snitching. I'll call them jokingly, and I called, you guys were there when he was on the podcast. I called him, and he's like, I'm live right on the podcast. We had that kind of text conversation. So as far as tearing him down, I wanted to do things the right way. But listen, I guess, life happens fast. So on the date of October 2nd, 2013, I believe we were 2 years in to the podcast on the new platform of Yahoo Podcasts. See, because we started this when we used to have to look in the paper, and we were just picking games. We weren't, we didn't focus on players. We was all right, let's make picks. Who's gonna win this week? $1 a piece. I think we were in about 8th grade. For me, the second time. But oh shit, we got a podcast guest. Oh my goodness. Is that the boy ThingsGregSees?
It is. What's up?
See, hold on 1 second. I'm in the middle of another podcast that I'm putting up. So a lot is happening right now. So I'm gonna pause. I'll be back to my fantasy football story after this short. Hello again, beautiful people. I haven't got a check cut for ads, but if I do, I might as well be my own shit. Episode is not brought to you by Carlton's Car Wash, because it is below zero outside, and I like my limbs. I'm not gonna hold you. Listen, I'm all about doing. You know what I'm saying? I'm all about getting shit done, but some things just ain't feasible. Okay, I got my pipes freezing, all types of crazy shit going on, but I understand that this is the game. And you know what? The second we back at 40 degrees, we back out there. But in the meantime, in between time, I guess you can go follow the Instagram. Ain't shit up there, but, you might as well be the first to be informed. So take a moment and do that. And now, I guess back to the show. Listen, that's what I want for myself in 2018, so I got to bring it to you. Now, as I was saying, with James, I wanted to tear him down, and pardon me, I said Yahoo podcast. I meant Yahoo Fantasy, but I wanted to tear them down the right way, like friends do. But then I realized, some shit, and that's what I'm also learning, and what I'm bringing with me into 2018. That not everything is for the podcast, and it's a very thin line. It's weird creatively to want to tell a story, but then you don't want to exploit your friends. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even want to do that to anybody I know, and that's why I say when people come up to the podcast, of course, I always want them to be honest and truthful and straight to the point. But some shit, I'm like, you may listen back to this 2 weeks from now and not feel as comfortable as I do. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to put anybody out there. So I may look at as a good joke. I don't know. Maybe somebody else might not have. So I gotta figure out the lines between that. But congrats to James McKenna on his fantasy football championship. I'll save this talk. We'll retouch this talk again in September, which is a hell of a long way from now. But I'll be telling him how it doesn't count because nobody was really around and I wasn't active. He'll cry about it, but we'll move on as men because that's what we do. But here I got the boy ThingsGregSees live and direct on the podcast.
Yep, I see it now.
And we are back. I don't know how I did that or what I did just now. Okay. But I guess we got it. That's fine. Oh, man, I got the boy ThingsGregSees here for our year-end wrap-up.
Yes.
As I said.
This is a special. Yeah, I'm kind of glad.
Yeah. No, this is definitely a special episode. And I know I sound redundant when I say that, but New Year's Day is big.
You get to see my face and all that. Put a hat on because I look kind of dumb.
Now,
here we go.
Where we were.
Damn, I look like a DJ.
Oh, now you're on your DJ shit.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
So now
I go on everything.
we gonna immediately pick up where we left off on social media.
I don't get a shout out first or something.
We're gonna get straight into it.
Oh,
when the SoundCloud niggas come on, they're like, who the fuck this is, and we don't really know who it is, but we just listen anyway. Like that's how it's just been rolling. Like, but for real, man. Greg has been posting his end of the year album rankings, best R&B album and best hip hop album.
I'll clear all that up. It's actually called the End of Year Awards.
When did you start doing this?
I started doing this in 2009.
2009.
Yeah, so we're like 8 years in right now. It's basically my superlatives of artists that I feel like people should be listening to, and or albums and or just recognition of just good music throughout the year. And basically, like I said, it's, the ThingsGregSees version of basically my shout outs and my recognition to artists and music throughout the year.
Got you.
Yeah.
Now, how do you feel? How do you feel putting this list together? Are you jotting notes all year long, or do you go in, like a couple weeks before and then look back on everything?
That's a difficult question to answer because, anybody that knows music and not a casual fan, they know that the heavy hitters kind of drop on the fourth quarter, which is anywhere from September to, that late December break, right before the holidays. You said what? It changed?
A little bit. Like now they kind of sprinkle it all year round. But I know what you mean, though. It traditionally.
I mean, it's still a deadline.
The big name.
I know what you're saying. Virally, like, you'll have an album. Well, there's no albums within the last 2 weeks. I mean, you gotta look at it as far as at least the categories I'm attacking. Right. I don't know about the pop and the dance and the electronic. But as far as R&B and hip hop, like there's a break. Like, you know, you either dropping before December or you're dropping after the second week of January. And that's kind of really what I focus on. That's not what the Grammys focus on, because their deadlines from anywhere from
like November or some shit. Like,
yeah, late July to, you know, the following year. But you know, I focus on the calendar year. So anywhere from January 2017 to December 2017. That's why I focus.
Got you.
To get a little history on like kind of how I constructed. And then you know, when I first did it, it was solely my opinion. But, you know, as I went through along the years, a lot of people let me recognize what I should be looking for. To, you know, feedback helps. And, you know, going in my profession, again, I've been a music blogger for a long time. Currently, you know, I'm a curator of playlists, also DJ, you know, also do events, you know, so on and so forth. So as far as like, you know, that quote unquote saying for the culture, I'm definitely
definitely for that.
prior to that. Yeah, you know, I guess I could peg myself within that. And, you know, hey, I live in one of the best cities in the world called New York City. So there you go.
That's a fact.
Which I will say a lot of the top podcasts and or blogs are from.
Everything, like you just mentioned, the culture, everything to do with going forward is gonna happen in New York. It has to happen. I'm sorry, LA. I'm sorry, places like Chicago. You guys are great, but everything pushing forward, New York all day. It's got to be.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't even have an answer to why, but it's something about the resilience of this city. It's something about the focus.
Yeah.
You know, it's something's always happening here, and I think it's just in our bones. You know what I'm saying? So, and even you look at as I look at this, even your playlist, it always has to be New York sprinkled somewhere onto your top, whatever.
You know, it's so funny. I have people in LA that follow me, and you know, the feedback from there is like, "Oh, this must be a New York influence." And I'm like, what makes you say that? Because I've never heard of that artist before, and you know, the music, like they don't get the vibe, but we do.
Because it doesn't. See, right now,
you know. And the one thing, I'm not even trying to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
The one thing I do notice about LA and their music is that it seems like they get everything late. And I don't know why. Maybe it's the time zones, so on and so forth. But their radio scene is horrible. You know, the music scene, like, unless it's like hardcore West Coast stuff, like you'll probably hear the redundancy of whatever radio hits that we play here, they gonna play over there, you know. And that's maybe from like Midwest or down south culture as well. But I will say, like, it's kind of like a lag in you know, getting exclusives out to I'm sorry, LA.
And why do you think that? Because, you know, I do say everything happens in New York going forward, but as far as like Hollywood, I mean, even though it is, that's what I'm saying. Everything that happens out of like Hollywood literally has to happen out of Hollywood. You know what I'm saying? So you think it should be like, it should meet each other halfway, but I do know what you mean. Like, even going over, you know, I didn't spend too much time in Cali.
The only thing that meets each other halfway is the internet. You know what I mean? The internet stars. So it's like, when you had, you know, the rebirth of Soulja Boy, that was the internet. When you had, you know, Chief Keef, internet.
Chief
You
Keef was
had,
the initial YouTube finesser.
right, right, right. So, I'm trying to think of a couple other names, but I can't this present time. But when you think of the presence of the internet, that's the only thing that brings coast to coast together. The Bobby Shmurdas, the Young M.A.s, so on and so forth. All New York artists, by the way.
See, and that's another thing with a New York art. A New York artist easily gets thrown in that cycle because
Yeah.
if you put that New York spice on it, it's gonna go. And
Well, the thing about a New York artist is, one, they're probably seasoned, and then two, we have like notoriously the toughest crowds to play with. I remember going to an all West Coast concert a couple years ago. YG and Nipsey Hussle, and I'm big fans. Aside from being a music blogger, I'm big fans of theirs. But to go there and to see how much love they got in New York City, in the venue they played, normally you're not getting that.
nah, those guys are exceptions, though.
Yeah, right.
I think we're gonna look back on Nipsey like Snoop. You know what I mean? Like he gonna have his pass is good anywhere.
I agree. I mean, it's all dependent on this album that's it's supposed to drop in a couple months anyway. So we'll see.
I think he's due. I'm not saying I don't mean due for a bad one, but I think he's allowed a luxury of a little wiggle room, Nipsey. You know what I'm saying? But that's just me personally.
Okay.
But like I was saying before, with West Coast music, I think it's because I'm looking at my weather app. Right now it's 19 degrees. We have a whole different vibe than we had in the summer. I think they keep the same. They have that, when they say keep that same energy, they're allowed to do that because their lives don't drastically change. Like our weather have us in a whole new mode. So maybe that's why I say, the internet, you're good from anywhere. You could go not viral, but you could do your thing and make your way to the world from Nebraska. But as far as like that structure, that corporate, that machine,
right.
New York, LA, no question.
Well, I mean, you gotta look at the industry. The predominantly most of the industry is based out of New York. You got your Eppies, you got your Capital. Capital's in LA, but RCA's, you got your Sony, Bad Boy, all these labels based out of New York and these offices, and predominantly the artists will have to touch or either record or have some type of showcase here. So
true.
The New York consumer, which can vary from people from other states or whatnot, once they're happy to hear it, you have to appeal to them.
That's a fact.
And that's the one thing that makes New York what it is, that the various amounts of people.
Now, I want to get into this list here.
Nice transition.
This is the hip hop list. We're gonna start from the.
You want to go right into the hip hop list? That's what you want to do.
You know what? Listen, let me take a look at the R&B. See, the R&B, I'm not.
You didn't even want to go into the supplemental categories?
No, I didn't look at that. Are you crazy?
Oh, like the best single of the year or
oh no! Wait, do you have artist? That? Can I hear this live on the air? Because I didn't hear that. Do you have your singles list?
I don't have it on. Let me get it right quick. Give me a second.
Yeah, do your thing.
Okay. We gotta do all awards, not just categorize some.
That's a fact. See, this is the thing, though. As I look,
I know you were hyped because you added me on Twitter and everything. And
listen, when I come across shit on the internet, as soon as you put it on the internet, it's eligible for my opinion. Like that's just how this is how it's got to go. You know what I'm saying? So I saw the list and I looked at it and I was like, I'm not saying you wrong, bro, but there's a lot of extra shit here. Like. I see certain names.
That's funny because I got last year's list on here too, and I'm just like, damn, like.
Now,
I'm still. You want to hear last year's
yeah,
too?
let me get a little refresher of last year, because that's what I say that to say this podcast is for from my end. Like, you know what I'm saying? For the 1 year anniversary, I wanna put together all the episodes, all the shit I was right about. So I do enjoy sometimes looking back, you know, as a temperature check to see if you know what the fuck you talking about. Because if I look back on my episodes and I look and none of this shit made sense, I don't know. Then I gotta, you know, that, so that just lets me know where you are as far as your highlight reel.
Well, you like the hip hop, so maybe I should go there first. Right?
And I know we coming off into 2018 and we can't be focusing on old shit.
And that's the thing. I got a whole. Well, you can't see that, but I got a whole list of last year's albums. But I'll go to hip hop route because obviously that's what you was feeling.
Yeah, please. Let's start there.
Okay. Always do a 15 because, you know, I feel like 5 should be mentioned as far as like honorable mention. So I got 15, 2 Chainz and Lil Wayne, COLLEGROVE. I got The Game at 14, 1992. I got Terminology at 13 with More Politics. And I'll take a pause right there. Notice the variety of what I listen to.
See, I respect the variety.
Okay.
And let me ask you this before we continue. Do you listen to it? See, I listen just because I have to listen to everything. Just because I like to take the temperature. Do you listen because you enjoy some of this shit? Because some shit I like when I like, don't get me wrong. I guess what you just named was cool, but see, even the COLLEGROVE was like
Oh wow! Really?
I remember like
I liked it.
It was cool.
I liked it. I think it was more so 2 Chainz part and not Lil Wayne's part.
That's why I say when I gotta start picking and choosing.
I could tell that, you know, like, see, this is all music aside. Like, despite his situation and whatnot with Cash Money, I really feel that, you know, 2 Chainz kind of curated it around Lil Wayne's punch-ins because I could tell maybe they was in the studio, but the majority of the time they wasn't. So he had to kind of make a song around that. But I still enjoyed it. That's what I'm saying. That fun fact.
That's another thing also with these fucking joint projects. Like, I feel like they don't even have the time to sit around and really game plan. Like, even us, we could do this. We're using whatever apps we got to use and making a way. I feel like this doesn't even happen because that's why I listen to, I see that on the list and I'm like, that shit didn't even feel in sync. It didn't feel one. And don't get me, and that's why I say it was creatively, I could never say anything bad about it because it was what it was. But as far as a body of work, wasn't feeling it.
Okay, I mean,
but for the reason you just named, like
it was 15 though. It wasn't like it was number 1. So
right. But
let me get to it. This is last year's list. So I'm at 13. 12 ASAP Ferg, Always Strive and Prosper. 11 Yo Gotti, White Friday. Number 10 Nick Grant, 88 mixtape. Number 9 J. Cole. And what was that? For Your Eyes Only. Number 8, Dave East with Cardi Chanel. Number 7, Westside Gun with Fly God. 6, Elzai Let Poison. 5, Torre with Entitled. 4, Kanye West, The Life of Pablo. Number 3, A Tribe Called Quest, Thank You for Your Service. Number 2, Smoke Dizzy and Pete Rock, Don't Smoke Rock. And number 1, for the number 1 album of 2016, Schoolboy Q, Blank Face LP.
Okay, so you qualified yourself. Now we can all look back and we see that was some those were definitely in there. Like either way you spin it, you're gonna have more in common than out of you know what I'm saying with your
Right.
list. So now let's
All
jump
right,
right
so,
into
yeah.
the singles of 2017, the wrap up. What you got for me?
All
Started
right,
with
so
honorable mention.
okay, so you want to go with the rap. All right, so 15, honorable mention, Vince Staples, Big Fish Theory. A lot of people, including Rolling Stone, Billboard, and maybe Fader, had this on this list very high.
And I was late on him. I was definitely very late. But I was
Now,
with this.
now, as a hardcore hip hop fan, it's not the best hip hop album, but it is a good album because maybe the alternative beats kind of throw people off. But you know, knowing
I think
Vince
that's why I
Staples,
wasn't mad at it because I didn't have any expectations. Like I didn't even know what to.
yeah, knowing Vince Staples' past projects, this wasn't a bad project. You know, his debut album was a double album. He also had an EP behind this and before this project, but I feel like it didn't even like rectify them, but it
Sure.
did kind of like for the labels created him to make singles, and at the same time he's going to say what he has to say, and he has a presence on social media, and it kind of brought the alternative fan, white fans and whatnot, our counterparts, to the forefront as he made, these singles that had electronic or dance beats or house beats too. So, but he was very much hip hop.
And that's why I say like I wasn't mad at him. I'm still new to him. I can't. I want to be fair and not judge him
Right.
because I don't know. I didn't know what to think. So I just took it in. I stayed fair with him. So I'm not mad at it seeing him on 15 because if I had to make a 15 and be unbiased, I'm not mad at the honorable mention spot, especially if
Okay. 14, Rick Ross, Rather You Than Me. This is an album I had in my top 5 for a while, actually. I think it kind of filtered down the spiral of top 10 because for the fact that he really didn't push a lot of singles. And Rick Ross is known for at least an album with 2 to 3 big singles on it. And really the only big single that was really on it was probably the Birdman record, disc record,
Dear Apple, can all podcasters please get paid?
A lot of people kind of look at Trap as the big record because it was the trap, kind of like the trap record or the club record. But to me, the biggest record was that Birdman record.
And that Ty Dolla $ign was.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, that was definitely the radio single.
That's what I was gonna say. It was definitely what he threw out there
yeah.
for the machine. But
yeah.
the Birdman, as far as the temperature of the album, the Birdman, I forget what it was called. Idols Become Rivals was definitely what stood out on the album.
Right.
And I also noticed that if you go look at the album, he puts that song with the Ty Dolla $ign joint, that's on there twice. And I was wondering, like, was that a numbers thing he was trying to play with us? Like, did he try to fuck with the streaming a little bit? Because I definitely noticed that was on the album twice. So I got my eye on you, Rick Ross. I noticed shit like that.
13, Logic, Everybody.
Don't even get me started with Logic, really. Like, I don't know about that kid.
Well,
because I don't even like him. I'm like,
I said it on a tweet. Logic has never put a bad project out. Knowing behind the scenes of his dealings, and especially with that Jordan Lucas interview and Everyday Struggle, I'm unaware of how he does business, you know, personally. But as an artist and as an album, I didn't think it took away from the project. I think it's a good project. I think it should be mentioned. You know, he's hip hop all the way. Um, you know, like Jordan Lucas, I do think he plays on race a little bit too much. Him being white and black and trying to be accepted by black, but he's white too, and you know, yada yada yada.
And that's actually what
I
I
think
think is
we
the most
this is the
interesting.
this is the third project, not third, yeah. This is the third project, and we heard this redundant.
Right. That's what I was gonna say. That's actually what I think is the most interesting thing about him, and that's why I think he has to keep bringing it up, because I think it is. Everybody is, you know, going through an identity thing, but I think with him in particular, like the interracial struggle, or he not being able to identify with black people or white people and being caught in the middle, it is a real thing. So I think that part is actually the most interesting and the cool, or interests me the most about Logic. It's a lot of people out there that can relate to him, it doesn't make sense. But as far as creatively, I feel like, all right, bro, like we get that about you. Like let's move on. Let's get into the other shit. So I'm fair with him, but that's why I say I was like, eh. Like I just think his story is very unique. I feel like if he was an author, I would feel the same way about him. Like I'm not saying his bars. I'm not saying I don't like his music. But I think it's so interesting and different that I would really like him if he was just saying the shit on Instagram. I don't know. So Logic is like, but okay. I'm not mad at him being in there though.
I mean, again, the list is debatable, so it's like, right. You know, and it's very subjective. So it's like it's
just like music is. So yeah. Don't think I'm saying your music is wrong. It's not you, it's me. Trust me, because this next shit,
oh yeah.
Without warning, come on, bro. What's up? What's going on?
Nah, very think Metro Boomin had 3 projects out. This is one of them. Metro Boomin, 21 Savage, All Set What I Wanted, honorable mention. You know, we had an album with Travis Scott and Quavo. We also had an album with Big Sean and Metro Boomin. Metro Boomin was definitely also what I named Producer of the Year.
Hands down.
And in one of my mentions, he was tied with Mike Will Made It in my 2016 mentions. And, you know, to me, this project is very strong. Again, this is his third project. He also had a project with Nav. And, you know, this project right here, not only did it showcase Offset's ability to kind of carry the show, but it did kind of also showcase 21 Savage to be a premier rapper.
That's a big word, but I'm not mad at you.
Okay, as far as being on the club scene and radio scene,
you're right. You're definitely right.
I ain't even gonna cut you off, but we also have to notice that Bank Account was not only produced by Metro Boomin, but was a big song in the strip club throughout the year.
This is true. And I don't, that's why, I don't agree. I mean, I don't agree. I don't like it, but it is true. Like, he is in that light of being like.
And you know, my categories is obviously lyrics, beats, you know what I'm saying, marketing, fun.
Wait, no, 21 Savage had a smoking hot 2017. Don't get me wrong. Please. Yeah. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, and you know that's I think that's what I want people to recognize. Is that
I think it's 16 and 17. So he's definitely.
Definitely 16 for sure towards the tailwind at the end, but you know, 17, like his presence was definitely there. Like you couldn't take it away from him. And I think Drake even helped with that with the you know, the one record that didn't make more life, but you know, I feel like he
where
was
does
definitely
More Life go? Is
he,
More Life a
he was
rap album? What is that?
More Life is a playlist.
Nah, it definitely is. That's hilarious. But yo, shout out to
I know I know he's gonna catch that.
no, that's because it definitely is though when you think about it. Because I know that middle that little fucking calypso section he got in there. That I gotta skip over that because it is. He definitely touched everybody on that one.
Mm-hmm.
There's definitely a playlist. So who we got next here? And I want to jump around a little bit because it's hard to stare at this name, and I don't know if I can wait that long. Jaden Smith at number 3 is crazy to me. Now I listened to that. If Drake is a playlist, Jaden Smith, I don't know what the hell that shit was. And I like the first 4 tracks, right? Felt
That's
like one.
That's a big jump. First of all.
No, that was a major jump. But
Yeah.
because I just couldn't look at it for any longer. The first 4 tracks felt like 1 10-minute song. I just want to say that. But I think it was like number 2 or 3 or whatever. I don't even know when it was because I just took in the whole moment. But
yeah, because it's blue, but it's spelled BLUE.
Right. So maybe I think it was L or the beginning of it or middle. I forget where it was. But he had a series of.
So you heard the majority of these albums. That's
the only one I didn't hear was Conway and
the Conway.
Conway and JID, the Never Story.
Okay.
Everything else I heard at least twice.
Okay.
So that's why I say I'm not mad at it.
Dan did good then.
Only Jaden Smith. I'm kind of mad at Jaden Smith though a little bit.
You added me, but all right. So I was on the ballpark, so I'll take that.
No, that's why I was so offended. I'm like, yo, bro, you had it. What is Jaden Smith doing up there?
Oh, okay, all right. That's why That's where the misconnect came. All right,
No, you didn't drop the ball.
I can definitely defend it.
It was and I felt like I don't know, bro. Did you go and reach for that one? Like, what is that shit there for?
I definitely.
And I know you wouldn't compromise your integrity and just throw somebody on a list to make it look good. So obviously I respect that. Another thing I want to get into real fast while we figure out what the hell's going on with the Zoom app is Barack Obama. Pains me to say former, but the former president of the United States, who is still one of the greatest presidents. I'm only 29 years old, but that I've ever experienced in my lifetime. Certainly the most swaggy. I gotta say that. Definitely got the most spice at any president that has ever been in that office. But he dropped his favorite songs in 2017, and I thought it was cool, man. He got some Blessed by Daniel Caesar. He got Wild Thoughts by Khaled, Rihanna, and Bryson Tiller. That's major. That's a major look. He got Humble up here by Kendrick Lamar. He got Family Feud, Hove and Beyonce. I thought that was amazing. That's what I think is so cool about Barack Obama. That when he stepped off and when he jumped out the window and did some cool shit, it was cool. Like when he just let you know and you got to take a piece. Get a peek at his personal life. He lets you know, like, yo, I'm one of you guys. Like, I listen to Hove, And I think that was also, it made him very relatable with people. And it's not, I know I bring everything back to rap music, but it's not always about rap music. Sometimes it's just letting people know that you're in touch with them. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what the hell happened at ThingsGregSees. It prompted us a message. I don't know what the hell just happened. Maybe it's the first time I was using the video, so maybe I don't know. That's what happened. I can't tell you, but I forget what was number 1 on his list. I gotta bring him back. I believe Tyler the Creator was number 1 on his list, and now I gotta call him back because he definitely gotta explain that one. Because that was one of the ones where I had him on Twitter like, bro, these top 2, bro. Like, what's up? Everything else is valid. Because listen, man, and that's another thing I want to get to about music, and that's why I like to have ThingsGregSees up to the podcast because he appreciates the music, but because I want people to understand, like, you can't shit on somebody's top 5, their top 10, their top anything. Like, I can't even sit here and hate Greg's list. His list is his list. I can't say this is wrong, this is right. It's all subjective. Music is all about what it says to you. You know what I'm saying? Me and you, whoever's listening, there's 40,000 people listening. Me and 40,000 other people could hear one song and really have 40,000 different views. And, you know, maybe even half the people fucking hate it, half the people love it, and then you break it down from there. So you can't shit on people's taste in music. You can't say, it's not for me. Like, if it's not for you, it's not for you. But you don't ever take from anybody else's life experience. And that's why I say it's bigger than the music. Your opinion to someone should never want to change how they feel about themselves. You know, your opinion should always be constructive. You know, so with subjective things like music, you know, we just talk about this shit for fun and for the sake of the podcast, man. But I want you guys to listen to whatever the fuck you like listening to. You know, I talk about rap music because it's what I love, but, you know, I also listen to Adele. I just haven't had no Adele that I like in a while. You know, I listen to Party Next Door. I don't listen to country music, but if some fire came on Sirius LA radio and I happen to enjoy it, there you go. You know, you never know. It's all about catching the vibe, man. And as I said on the last episode, create your own vibe. You got to create your own vibe in 2017. Yeah, man. Let me figure this out. Listeners, I definitely appreciate you listening and tuning in. And as I said before, I want the best for us in 2018. You know, I love you all. I appreciate you listening. Make sure you head over to KingBoChrist.com. Click on that podcast app. Go to search. Type in King Bo Christ and make it do what it do. As I'm gonna say in the outro again, but, you know, sometimes you guys gotta listen twice, man. As I always say, fuck what your horoscope says. Have a day that you think you deserve. I'm out. Listeners, if you're listening in the podcast app, I need you to go rate this. So make sure you search King Bo Christ or search by the podcast name. I say that to say this. Leave a 5-star rating. I don't know, a goat emoji or something, some nice words, and hit send. I appreciate you listening. Thank you.